Okay. Our next speaker is a Brazilian, but today he come to us from Leiria, from Portugal. He works as a technical director at Innovai, and she claims about himself that he is an educator, developer, speaker, and entrepreneur. And he's going to talk about native technologies and how is it worth to build them in the native technologies. And does the Objective-C fit into all of this today? Native iOS development, why should you go this way? By Thiago Viana.
Hello. Now, yeah, good. Okay, thank you. The first thank you for you because, yeah, it was possible for us to change, and now I can get home. Yeah, yeah. This is me. And why should you go this way? Because I think we should all move to PhoneGap. Because I'm kidding. No, that's actually is exactly the opposite. And yeah. Already introduced. Just to briefly explain something, what I'm doing, and I'm majorly doing iOS, beyond other things, because those days it can be founder engineer or technical director or technical product manager. I mean, these things in my head are all mixed up. But yes, it's this is what we do in Portugal, and basically two products, an entire ecosystem, and just to make you guys understand, and this will actually give some basis, we're doing everything native, as you can see, backend C#, and TypeScript for web, of course it's React.js, Kotlin for Android, and Swift for iOS. And the good thing is we're doing this model white label for those products. And later, if anyone wants to know more, I can show you. And it's pretty much everything automated in a way that when you purchase it, the system will generate everything. And maybe in 1-2 hours, you have everything. And just to explain how big that is, it's pretty much an entire ecosystem for car sharing, rental car, fleet management, like ERPs, iOS app, Android app, web apps, websites, and everything. So 1-2 hours, it's done, and even publish it. But okay, let's move. Who I am, I started some time ago, maybe 1 or 2 years, as you can see. And I use those things. I don't know if anyone know anything about this. Yeah. But that's where I started. And this because I'll be talking why should we go native. And I think that, okay, thank you. I think that for some subjects, you should always ask about this. The person who was actually expressing opinion or sharing that, what he's doing, from who he's working for, because maybe he's biased, right? And like economy, what the school, what the university or the company, because he'll probably say you things based on some interests. But it's not for me it's not the case because I start with art, fine art and everything. So, I mean, university. And then I remember, so I love this, Proto-Renaissance and Renaissance, and someone presented that to me, Mondrian, and I said, oh, just small squares, and this is not art. And then it was a learning because the teacher, the professor, they just give me a book, and then it was shame on me. And then I learned that I can't just stick to something. I need to explore. I need to experiment because, well, yeah, Mondrian is art, and now I know. And then I never stopped. I moved to this, and yes, I used several things. I did Shockwave. I don't know if you know, but It was quite like before Flash. And also, I moved to backend in that time. So VB script, ASP, and PHP. I started 21 years ago. And then Dreamweaver. So yes, I'm evolving. And then Flash. I think this is amazing, ActionScript. If I would pick some, I would probably be there. But the show must go on. And then I moved to JavaScript because nobody, install plugins and that stuff. It doesn't worth it. Then I needed to change, especially because Apple blocked the plugin, the Flash plugin, and then, okay, if I continue, so HTML5 and everything, so I moved. The point is, then, this is where am I right now? I mean, personally, I like this, and I started developing iOS apps. I started with Objective-C. That was iOS 4 and 5. I think you probably know what this means, like automatic reference counting. Before it doesn't exist, and then existing. And yeah, okay, now you know who I am, and I'm an early adopter, and I don't care changing. And okay, I think I can pull this. And just to, I have this video about that actually inspired me to keep myself in Apple, because how do I play this?
Steve, let me ask you about the iPhone and the Zoom, if I may. The Zoom was getting some traction, then Steve Jobs goes to Macworld and he pulls out this iPhone. What was your first reaction when you saw that?
$500 fully subsidized with a plan? I said, that is the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine.
How do you compete with that, though? He sucked out a lot of the spotlight in the last few weeks because of what happened at Macworld, not only with the iPhone, but with the new iPod. I mean, how do you compete with that, with the Zoom?
Right now, well, let's take phones first.
Okay.
Right now, we're selling millions and millions and millions of phones a year. Apple is selling 0 phones a year. In 6 months, they'll have the most expensive phone by far ever in the marketplace. And let's see, what's the expression? Let's see how the competition goes.
I don't know who's right. Well, that was inspiring because, I have a whole presentation about Apple numbers. I don't think I need to show because everybody knows. But yes, those things make me, okay, let's continue. We have grounds to continue investing on Apple ecosystem, iOS, and everything. So it's just to have bring some fun for you. Let me talk about my move and then why I moved from Objective-C to Swift, and because Apple told me to do it, and of course, and as you probably, but not only, it's modern and safe, it's powerful, blah, blah, blah. But let me share a few interesting things, actually, based on my own knowledge. It's community. I saw more people interested. This is good. I actually teach iOS development also, and I did that for 15 years. And for the first time, I saw less dropouts, and it was crazy. It was normal. People just stopping going to the class after 2 weeks because of Objective-C and everything. So that's really important for me. And ordinary people wanting to do apps, not only because of Swift, but because it's actually accessible. Everybody, dentists, physicians, they all know what an app is, and they want to build, but Swift make that actually possible. And so, and Objective-C is still there. I think if anyone is thinking about, actually, I had some conversations here. It's, I'm investing in SwiftUI, and UIKit, SwiftUI. And what I see is Objective-C is still really important. And yeah, several companies still using it. And I have some key points about why should you still invest in Objective-C. If you don't know, maybe you should take a look. For example, it's too popular, but you will better understand Apple ecosystem and even the Swift, because Objective-C. It's a bonus in interview, and it is. It's not mandatory, but I know for sure, and in my team, if the guy knows, it will be prioritized. And not only, I know several people that do that. Well, low-level tests, you will be able to do it, and maybe I can show some. Let's see if you have a time. And you need to know in order to work or maintain other system, and also to help migrating the old code base to Swift. So, yeah. But let's talk about these. We have these, a lot of, I don't know how to say, libraries, frameworks, ecosystem technologies that permit us to build native apps. And I don't know, it's quite annoying nowadays talking about this because it's always a fight, right? And let's see. First, I want to define some grounds. What is native development? I think this is the most important thing, because in the past, like PhoneGap and Cordova and everything, it was, okay, native is not using WebView. It was more simple, right? And to explain that, and but maybe we have a more accurate way to define what is native. And I tend to have these three check points, like it must be native to the developer, it must be native to the user, and it must be native to the platform. And then when you ask that, it makes it for you to easy to categorize which platform, which technology is native or not. For example, let's talk about React Native. I have this thing of looking at what I'm showing, and I don't know, it's too small here, but okay. So React Native, it's not native for to the mobile developer. Like you have no standard IDEs and JavaScript, so it's not native. So okay, so not native to the mobile user. At least if you use custom widgets and everything, you always have a bridging. So it's not native. You have another layer that will provide the thing, right? And partially native to the platform, because yet you need to JavaScript core engine. So, well, at least in my point of view, it's not native. It can be somehow, but it's not entirely native. Xamarin, I did some things there, and okay, not native for the developers, and Visual Studio and C# is not a pleasant way to work. I know several people in companies, they move to Xamarin, and then they start losing developers because they don't want to be there. So, yeah, not native to the mobile user because of the use of custom native widgets. It's quite like, oh, it's good because it's the same UI in both. It's good, but it's not native, right? And you have Mono, so you have a virtual machine for the Android. They quite at the same level, but yeah, you still have something else to make it work. So not native. And you can say that for iOS it's native because, but okay, let's move. Maui, it's a bit more elaborated. It's new, just to be fast. And I can say that if you can use that thing, you can decide to build something and do not share the UI. So, but it's an option. So when you use custom widgets, so it's not native to the mobile user, your end user. But you can. Now you have at least that possibility. So that's the difference. yeah, we're still using mono VM, and well, native developers don't like C#, so I would say no native, not native. Okay, Flutter, not native to the mobile developer because you can use Android Studio, but you can't use Xcode. And it's another layer for the UI, right? You have, you need to use this material Cupertino widget. So I can't say that is really native for the mobile user. But yeah, for the platform, it is native, so ahead of time compilation, and you have machine code. And okay, let's move a bit faster to the no code and low code, because I have comment on that. It's, I helped a lot of teams during my career to decide about how they should go in development, and I would say that in most cases, maybe you don't need to go to something in between, because if you can't go native, not 100% of the times, but it's huge, the number of applications you could maybe just use Zoho Creator or OutSystems or those platforms. And it's massive because in a few years, 70 to 75% of the market will be using those platforms. I have a whole talk about this because, yeah, it's impressive what you can do right now with those platforms. And it's growing 20% a year, which is huge. And the lack of developers is helping them to thrive, right? And it permits these fusion teams. It's quite like cross-functional teams. It's part of actually the nature of the low code and no code. So yeah, ServiceNow, OutSystems, and Mendix, they are the top companies that have those platforms. And I could do a few things, and let me share, like, those are templates that you can just pick and run, and it will work somehow good. So, okay, just a few simple, like travel management, seat booking, but okay, employee onboarder, recruit tracker, you have also franchise management, event management. Oh, here, for example, it's just pick, then in 30 minutes it's ready and native deployed. So it's fast. If the criteria is let's save money, I would say this is faster than Flutter, right? And it works. Something more elaborated, like healthcare appointment, energy portal, insurance portal. This is for OutSystems, by the way. I had the opportunity to build something like order management, digital banking, and a whole application. Let me share that until past year, Santander were using OutSystems, the app. Okay, it's a poor app, in my opinion, but it worked. I could do transfers and everything. They used it for several years. Now they moved. They're doing in-house, but it's just a huge case. Thank you. And then, just to, I know it's fast and sorry, but it must be because I would love to talk more, but why I kept myself and why I think you should keep yourself if you have doubts, because I don't know, maybe you don't, it's a Swift event, but why I kept myself in native development and why you should. First, risks. It's a heavy investment. Don't think otherwise. Moving to cross, you need to do a lot of things, training and testing, and yeah. Those people, they want you. I'm talking more about Flutter, React.js, or React Native, and Maui Xamarin, not low code. But they want you to use their tools, right? it's quite like, okay, Xamarin, Maui, use Visual Studio, C#, and trust it will thrive. And yeah, it's a huge, for me, it's a huge risk. You need to trust that you not shut it down. And we know they do that, right? From time to time, science phone gap, it's always like this. You need to accept the risk that they will shut it down. And then if those tools are free, like, oh, Flutter is free. Well, so probably we are the product because there's no free lunch. So just put this in consideration. And also, when we move to Cross, and okay, the team need to learn that. You need to invest on training. And sometimes, for example, I know that Flutter is now rewriting the UI components. And then your team will need to readapt and refactor your code also, right? So yeah, it's a lot of work. No news, but cross-platform will always be lag behind. Always one step behind, because it ended up, I did that in the past. I needed to create plugins just to make something really, really new work. And because no support, official support, like create widgets, for example. And yeah, this is quite annoying because it's quite like you accepting that you will not be using the latest features that the platform or the language is actually offering to you. And you will need yet specialists. You still need specialists if you're doing non-trivial things. Of course, if you're talking about small apps like an event, a venue, or something similar, it's okay. It will work, right? And also we work using low code or no code. I'm assuring you, maybe not the best experience, but it will work. I brought a quote from Airbnb because some time ago they decided to drop out React Native. And because that's what they said, we are now supporting 3 platforms instead of 1. And that was true, right? We had Android, we had iOS. Oh, let's put it all in one. It's not like that because Android, iOS native, it was there already. They needed all the people, but now they have 3 and another team. And then, yeah, you have some links so you can read about it. Probably you already did, since we are Swift developers. But yeah, think about it. And I saw that a lot. And I would like to just share some thinking. Instead of think about moving to cross-platform, why not think about multiple platform, let's say cross-platform thinking instead of cross-platform development. Yeah, better in that way. Like double work, it's simply not true. I know by experience that you can reuse code. You can, let me see. If you do some things like, okay, pairing iOS and Android developers, like you do something and then maybe you can do also cross-code review. And this will keep the team aligned. And it will avoid like the duplicated work as itself. Because I know that for sure. If someone in the Kotlin team, they develop, it was developing something there, I will not take the same time, exactly the same time. I will do it with less because they already solved the problem. Of course, platform-specific problems, those are different things, but in terms of code, logic, and everything, I can say I did a research in some projects, and it ended up that 30 to 50%, that's the percentage of the time for developing the same functionality in one platform. And after the same functionality is already done in the other one. Like, okay, Android is done. Maybe in 30 to 50% is the time or the cost to do it the same thing in the Android. Because you can create custom proprietary libraries, you can frameworks, and the other thing is keep that in mind. The only reason Cross exists is because there is the native. So it will always have space. You always find room for native developer, even if it's there. So I know a lot of companies for low code and no code, for example, they are also hiring a lot of iOS native developers and Kotlin developers because it's the only way actually for them to build something. So yes, and how much time do I have? To talk or to QA? Okay. Okay. It's okay. This is the reason I think you should continue using. I will just add something because I have time, and I didn't mention KMM. I don't know if anyone of you know about it. So, yeah, KMM looks promising. No time to show, but I could show, but maybe next time. KM looks promising because you are actually moving that, you can move that logic that you can share, like database layer or requests, API calls and everything to, you can do it in Kotlin, and you can actually create a module that will be in Xcode, and then you can just import and use natively. It's good, it's working, but this is subject for another talk. But I don't think it's still ready, so I wouldn't put it here, but it's something you should probably use and or consider, because it looks really good, at least by far better than what I already saw in Flutter and everything. So just to not miss my flight, I will say Jinkuya. And sorry for the rush, and I will be here if you want to.
I think we have like 2 minutes for questions, and there is one.
Well, thank you. So yeah, my question is, I'm a bit confused about these tools you were talking about, because I see Airbnb coming with this huge post about how they move to native. But then I also see a lot of successful companies doing React Native or other technologies like that, like, for example, Coinbase. And then I'm not sure really what the conclusion is, right? Is it working? Is it not working? Is that one company did it really wrong and the other did it really well? I don't know if you have any thoughts.
No, I think it's good. Maybe in the rush, I overstepped something. But of course, native cross-platform development work, right? And for me, work as the same as low code and no code. I mean, if it fits on your needs, why not use them? Yeah, they are all working. Why should I brought everything maybe to share the knowledge so you could, by your own conclusions, okay, should I continue or not? In my opinion, everything leads me to that, because even if I'm a native developer, as long as I can build things in almost the same velocity, I mean, the duplication of code is not a problem anymore. So for me, it's working. Native was there 10 years ago, and it's probably there 10 years in advance. In 2 or 3 years, I don't know if Flutter will be there. I think yes, but KMM is there, for example, and I'm really, really excited about KMM. how can I keep myself in this thing? It's pretty much that. And even if we, those things actually led me to that. Okay, do I need to go there if I can do everything? If I choose this correct path, I can do it in almost the same way. Because for me, it's especially this. I can measure the cost, and the cost is not the double. It's probably 30%, and for mature teams. And at least for now, I never, for the companies I've been in or doing consulting, it was never showing that, and okay, let's do it. And it was never a problem. But I'm not here to say that you should not use or it's not good products or technology. I'm just saying that sometimes they try to sell in a way that for me it's simple not correct. Yeah, this is it. So yeah, it's working, but who can say that it will not work in a native way? It's just, okay, they picked something and they did it. The same way, I know companies that they move to native and then they move to cross again, right? And yeah, it's in the end of the day, you need to talk to your team and they will decide, right? Yeah, but I hope at least with those informations that I brought that maybe you could have base to stay where you are, I mean, doing native development. Yeah, I don't know if I answer your questions, but yeah.
Okay, I think that we are not taking you any longer as you're in rush. So thank you, Thiago.
Thank you.